Are con artists coming after your stimulus check? Perhaps they are, and AARP's Fraud Watch Network is tracking this problem. And I've got with me today one of our AARP Fraud Watch Network volunteer leaders, Kay Tomlinson. And Kay, we're going to come to you in Lake Tapps. Hello, we're all quarantining in place, but it's good to see you.
Hi, Bruce.
So, Kay, could you tell us what the Fraud Watch Network is and what it does?
Sure, Bruce. Since 2013, the Fraud Watch Network has been empowering consumers to both avoid scams and spot scams, to provide guidance and support to victims and their families as well when fraud happens. So we know that scammers steal billions of dollars from unsuspecting consumers every year. And we know that the impact on the victims and their families can be financially and emotionally devastating, especially for older Americans. At the Fraud Watch Network, we provide tips to spot and avoid scams such as identity theft, imposter scams, financial fraud, internet scams, and more. And we also provide updates and resources such as watchdog alerts, and one of my favorites, the scam tracking map that can provide real-time information about scams in your area and your part of the state. So I highly encourage folks to visit aarp.org/fraudwatchnetwork to learn more about this information. We also have a group of volunteer fraud fighters who are ready and more than able to provide virtual free community presentations to civic groups, senior living facilities, and community groups. And we love doing so. So please contact us at aarp.org/WA Speakers Hub to request a speaker so we can come out and have a chance to meet you virtually and provide some great information on fraud and scams.
And one of the things that we've learned about con artists is that they take advantage of things that are in the news. And there isn't anything more in the news now than the COVID-19 pandemic and also the economic stimulus checks. Have you heard anything at the Fraud Watch Network about the stimulus payments and any frauds concerning that?
No question about it, Bruce. You know, the scammers are doing what they always do, and they're using their full toolbox of scam tools to do it. Phishing emails, texts, robocalls, imposter schemes, and more, with the main goal still of stealing your money and gaining access to your sensitive personal information. And they're also going to take advantage of headlines that are currently in the news for all of us on the coronavirus that we know causes heightened anxiety, again, for all of us. And this is something that the scammers refer to as getting their targets under the ether. Heightened anxiety, people are nervous and scared, and the scammers can take advantage of that. So millions of Americans have already received their coronavirus stimulus payments. And so as a result, the IRS continues to both calculate and automatically send out these payments to individuals. We know that in some cases, folks need to contact the IRS to provide some more information to receive their checks, and we'll talk about that. But as the distribution of these payments continue, AARP and the Fraud Watch Network really wants to make sure that this money stays where it belongs, and that's in your wallet and not in the hands of the scammers, because we know that crooks don't care if there's a crisis. They thrive on uncertainty. And already just this year, we know that more than $13 million has been lost just to coronavirus-specific scams. And that's based on, well, nearly 10,000 reports to the Federal Trade Commission from the first of the year through mid-April.
So if there are scammers trying to get my money through this, how do I know if I qualify for a stimulus check?
Well, the first step is to visit the IRS's website at irs.gov/coronavirus. Now, there are some parameters in terms of income as well as households with children, but basically taxpayers who have filed income tax returns federally in 2018 or 2019 can look at this. Retirees who might get Social Security, a railroad pension, or some type of other retirement benefit from the government. And beneficiaries are included also, government payments, things like SSDI and disability payments, and of course, veterans benefits.
So if I have questions about whether I'm going to get a check, probably getting advice from someone who just calls me on the phone is a bad idea. I should go to the IRS, right?
Absolutely a bad idea, Bruce. Go to the irs.gov/coronavirus website, and they'll have the information that you need regarding your eligibility.
So how do I get my stimulus check?
Well, the good news is that most people don't have to do anything to obtain their stimulus check. The IRS is going to use the same payment method that they've used to send you previous benefits that we just mentioned, Social Security, disability, veterans benefits, and they're going to use that same method to send you your stimulus payment. And they're going to use the same methods such as a paper check, a debit card, or direct deposit. So if you think that the IRS doesn't have, for example, your direct deposit information, and that's how you'd like to receive your stimulus payment, you can go to, again, irs.gov/coronavirus, click on the Get My Payment link. It's going to give you the information and walk you through the ability to enter your bank account information so that you will get your direct deposit. And I want to let people know this is the only site where you should enter bank account and personal information is that website. And you know, for those that don't typically file a tax return, again, go to the irs.gov/coronavirus, but click on non-filer. And that's going to give you the information on what you need to do and what information you might need to provide to check on your stimulus payment.
So would the IRS contact me about my stimulus payment, or is that something I should be suspicious of?
Well, that's really the heart of our conversation today. And, you know, if the IRS needs to contact you for any reason, whether it's to give you information or to get information, generally they're going to do so by mail. The IRS is not going to call you, text you, email you, or use any other social media type platform to contact you to give you information about your stimulus payment. And by the same token, the IRS is not going to contact you to ask you to provide your Social Security number, your bank account, any of that personal information that you really should not be giving to anyone unless you go to the website and you're signing up for direct deposit. So that's the main thing to remember here in what we're talking about. And we want everyone to remember this. The IRS is not, they are not going to contact you directly and ask for any kind of a information verification of your personal or financial information in order to receive your stimulus payment. And you know, I can say too that I mentioned earlier that many folks have already received their payments. I know I have. I actually went on the website and did check your payment and verified that in seconds it told me that my payment had already been sent, which was great. But if you have received your payment, know that the IRS is not going to contact you about an overpayment. If you get a call, if you get an email that says you've been paid too much and you need to send a refund to this address or bank account, that is a scam.
There are no fees or payments generally in this, right? I mean, if somebody asks you to pay money to get your stimulus check, That would be a scam?
That's absolutely a scam. You do not need to pay a fee to get all or any part of your stimulus payment. So again, if you get a call, a text, an email that's saying you need to pay a fee in any format, whether it is a check, a gift card, a debit card, money order, wire transfer, that is a scam. You don't need to pay that fee. And if you're contacted by the IRS to say, for a small fee, we can send your stimulus payment much more quickly and you can get it faster, that's a scam.
So basically, it's just good advice not to pay money to get your check, because that a check, or I shouldn't even say check necessarily, because for most people, it's not going to be a paper check. It's going to be a direct deposit, right?
Correct, correct.
One of the things that we'd like to do with the Fraud Watch Network, and we also like to involve our volunteers, but also our members, because we'd like all of our members to be fraud fighters.
Mm-hmm.
If I receive something that I think is a scam, and like especially if it's a IRS stimulus scam, but it could be also other kinds of scams, is there a place that I can report that?
Absolutely, and that's a great question, because AARP highly recommends reporting all scams and attempts at fraud to the Federal Trade Commission at ftc.gov. And if you're not sure that you've been approached with a scam or something fraudulent, whether it's related to your stimulus payment or any other type of fraud, feel free to call the AARP Fraud Watch Network Helpline. The number is 1-877-908-3360. You can talk to a person, not a phone tree, not a recording, but you can talk to a person who is going to listen to your story and help you with some resources and thoughts on next steps you should take to protect yourself and how to report the situation.
And that Fraud Watch helpline, that's staffed by Fraud Watch Network volunteers as well, right?
That's correct, and they're highly trained volunteers who, I might add, are quite passionate about helping you stay safe and report your fraud. You can also go to the AARP Fraud Watch Network website for lots of information about fraud in general and specific as well to coronavirus scams. And you can also report your fraud on our scam tracker map, which will give you, again, the live real-time information about scams in your area of the state.
And in terms of the Fraud Watch Network presentations that you mentioned, you talked about our volunteers. Volunteers kind of like yourself would go out and do presentations. And AARP has put all of our in-person programs on hold. The Fraud Watch Network presentations are on hold, but our tax aid program, our brain health, our home fit, our driver safety, it's all on hold just because of the current situation and because the safety of our volunteers and also the safety of our members is paramount. Is there any way that people can get this kind of Fraud Watch presentation now?
Absolutely, no question about it. So, at AARP, our organization has been promoting the health and the well-being of older Americans for over 60 years. And now, as you said, we're especially concerned, and our priority is the health of our staff, our volunteers, our members, and of course the community at large. So we are monitoring and closely following the recommendation of the Centers for Disease Control, as well as all of our local health organizations. So you're exactly right. In light of this pandemic, all of the in-person type of events sponsored by AARP are on hold, and suspended until further notice. So this is tough because we like to have in-person events to share information, to share resources. Plus, we like to see you in person and get to know you and have a conversation. But obviously, we just can't do that right now. But we are very happy to now offer some virtual presentations. So easy to use. You're in the comfort of your own home, participating in a presentation with great information. You use your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, any other device that you might have to be able to see those presentations that you mentioned, like home fit, fraud prevention, or brain health in that regards as well. So again, so easy to do, and I really encourage folks to look into these presentations, learn more about them, how we can share that information with you and your group, and to schedule a presentation so we can come and see you virtually and get to meet you. And you can do that by visiting aarp.org/WA Speakers Hub. And we'd love to come and visit with you.
Well, this is all great information, Kay. Thank you so much for being on with us. Is there anything you'd like to leave our viewers with? Parting words of advice?
Well, I'd just like to remind folks that, one, don't forget the IRS is never going to contact you for information on your stimulus payment. And you don't have to pay to get your stimulus payment. Go to the website, the irs.gov/coronavirus, to check for more information about those payments. But on a broader scope, as we said at the very beginning, the scammers are not taking days off during this crisis. They're focusing on getting money and personal information even more closely. So if you think something is too good to be true, or if you have that little hint of suspicion that something's not quite right, listen to that little hint of suspicion and always report anything that's a scam or a possible scam so the authorities can follow up on that for you. And of course, aarp.org/FraudWatchNetwork is your main spot for great information on how to protect yourself and your family.
Thank you very much, Kay. It's been great to see you. It's been 8 long weeks since we have seen any of our volunteers in person, so it's great to see you online. And AARP is committed to increasing our virtual way of getting in touch with people. So I thank you for being willing to do this, and thank you for all the great information. And we'll see you soon.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bruce.